Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. It is your boy, the Chaotic One. Today we're going to be doing our first tier list together. Yay! This is apparently popular. Don't know why. I enjoy these too. I don't know why. But we have 6 categories. We have I would 100% support the... Oh wait, I forgot to tell you. We are doing a Republican primary and I have 25 candidates. So hopefully... And I just picked 25 I thought would run, most likely. I have 100% support, a phenomenal choice, pretty good. I could stomach. It really depends on the running mate, and don't even fucking run. Yes, I cuss. I don't care. And so first we have Charlie Baker. I like Charlie Baker, though as governor it feels like he's just signing whatever comes to his office and barely vetoes. Because, you know, if he does veto, it's just going to get overturned by the Massachusetts legislature. And he's not a fighter. He's not. So, I'm going to put him on... I like him pretty good, or like, I'm going to say pretty good. He's not I could stomach, but he is a pretty good choice, in my opinion. Just based off policy alone. And if he were to nominate a conservative, very good conservative, that's not Nikki Haley, you know. Next up, Ben Carson. Now, I saw a tweet that said that Ben Carson sounded like a robot while he was running for president, and that's just how he sounds normally. I do like Ben Carson. Definitely my number 2 pick in 2016. I'm going to put him in a phenomenal choice. Definitely hope he is back in a Trump administration if Trump runs and wins in 2024. Hope he's like health secretary or maybe state secretary so he can learn how to do foreign policy. That would be good too. And maybe he can run for Congress or Senate one day. I think he lives in Michigan. Could be wrong. Next up is Tom Cotton. Now, Tom Cotton is part of the America First Coalition, a senator from Arkansas. And really, I think he's a better suit for the Supreme Court than he is the president. That's just my opinion. Plus, he's on the far right side of the America First Coalition rather than the moderate side. I'm gonna put him on pretty good. He's not a phenomenal choice. He's just a pretty good choice. I don't even see him being a good vice presidential candidate. Next is Ted Cruz. Ted has definitely gotten better policy-wise and fighting-wise, like becoming a fighter in the last 4 years. However, I don't know, like, he is... the guy is unpopular, and it really depends on if he can win his Senate seat back in 2024, because he's up for re-election. I think he would I think he would by around 2 or 3 points. But I'm going to put him on depends on their running mate because I have a good feeling he's going to choose Nikki Haley as his running mate. I hate Nikki Haley with a passion. Next is Big Ron DeSantis, the best governor in the country, if I have to say. Not the most popular governor. We'll get to him in a second. Which, if you're part of Red Eagles fan base, you might be saying most popular, huh? Ron DeSantis is the most popular. No, he's not. I think he's in top 5, but I think he's like 2nd or 3rd. And we have we definitely have all top 3 most famous, current famous most popular governors in this, and they're all Republicans, so, haha. But Ron DeSantis, 100% support. Definitely think he is the best, he's the best candidate for Republicans in 2024. Tucker Carlson being number 2, and Donald Trump being number 3. And actually, Jim Justice being number 3, Donald Trump being number 4. Maybe Jim Justice is number 2, but anyway. So, 100% support for Ron DeSantis. Next is Matt Gaetz. Oh boy. Due to his current sex scandal, oh well, like, it's gonna hurt him a lot, and plus he's got the same hairstyle as Richard Nixon, which I love to point out. Like, he's not a pretty good candidate. I'm going to put him in could stomach. Not because I think he's a bad politician. I like the guy. And he's also part of the far right of the America First Coalition. Not moderate. So, Next is Joni Ernst, probably a phenomenal vice presidential choice. However, she's definitely more of a traditional Republican. I don't want to say she's an establishment Republican. Definitely not right now anyway. I'm gonna put pretty good because she could definitely help win back white suburban women, which is a voting bloc that cost Donald Trump the election, in my opinion. Next is Deb Fischer. I like Deb Fischer a lot. I think she is a phenomenal senator and a phenomenal candidate for president. I'm going to put her up here, and I also think she could be a good choice for Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis or whoever for vice president, though, which she would help with the white suburban woman vote as well as rural voters, as she's from a rural state like Nebraska. Next is current Montana Governor Greg Gianforte. Gianforte is probably either going to run for re-election as governor or against Jon Tester. Excuse me. Sorry about that. The dogs are barking. Don't you just love when the dogs are part of the video? I think he's a good candidate. Definitely not as controversial as Democrats want to call him. He body slammed a reporter, which is awesome. Nice. But though if he wanted to run for president, he could. Though I think he should focus on a re-election bid to the governor seat, or for Senate if no other major Republican runs. So I'm going to put him under phenomenal choice, though I don't know if I would 100% support him. Next up is the actual most popular governor in the country, Mark Gordon. Definitely more of a traditional Republican in the sense I like this guy very much. Don't know if he was part of the people who had a lockdown in the country, but he did sign a legislation that banned having a mask mandate. So that is good of him. We don't need to force that. We need to let people run. Excuse me, let people make that choice. He definitely will help with Rust Belt voters. Definitely help with be more effective in suburban areas. And definitely the rural areas. If you want, Republicans are almost maxed out with rural voters. Maybe. But we're not there quite yet. And I think he could get us maximum rural turnout. I'm going to put him under phenomenal choice. Not 100% support, just phenomenal. Next up, Nikki Haley. Next up, Josh Hawley. Actually a moderate in the America First Coalition. Definitely a good choice. Good on economic issues, good on foreign policy issues, good on social issues. And when I mean moderate, he has voted for bills that he's been voting for legislation that's considered Republican, Democrat, whatever. However, he has that tendency to steer to the far right, especially with his vote to attempt to overturn the election results. But Josh Hawley, definitely a phenomenal choice. I don't think he should be a vice presidential candidate. He's a bit too big of a name for that, in my opinion. There's little opportunities for him to run for president. I don't know. Next up is Larry Hogan. Out of the 4 liberal Republican governors, Sununu, Hogan, Baker, and Scott, Hogan is definitely the strongest out of the 4 when it comes to fighting for what he wants. This is why he's so popular in such a blue state, because, one, he's a very centrist kind of Republican, as well as the fact that he fights for what he needs. And I think he's a pretty good choice, I think. I don't think Hogan will ever win a Republican primary nationwide because it's most of the Trump base. And even though there's a lot of moderate Trump voters that were Obama Trump voters, which that's the majority of the Trump base, moderates. And then you have your far-right Trumpists who will never, ever vote for Hogan. He'd definitely win in Maryland and maybe get second in the Northeast. But that's about it. Next up is Jim Justice, who I think is underrated. I'm going to put up in the 100% support column. He's probably not going to run for president because it's either going to go to Trump or DeSantis. Just so he might run for Senate because he's term limited in 2024 as governor. He's probably going to run against Joe Manchin or whoever for Senate. He's probably going to win that seat by probably a likely margin, if not safe. Next up, we got Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Now, you might be asking, Roger Marshall, what? Now, I think in a normal world where Donald Trump conceded, Roger Marshall would be considered one of the candidates who, hey, he could run. I don't know if he would or not. And, he's been really good in the Senate. Good on agricultural issues. Good on, I think, economic issues. did not vote to overturn the election, if I'm getting that correct. I'm going to say he's a pretty good candidate, though he definitely should not run in 2024. His seat's up in 2026. I think he should get his name out there more. Definitely could be a cabinet member and a Republican, definitely could be a Republican cabinet member. Maybe agricultural secretary, we could say. Next up, Kristi Noem. Noem is very overrated as a presidential candidate. Definitely a better vice presidential candidate, though that could propel her to the presidential nomination, which shouldn't happen. I'm gonna put Get Stomach. I think she definitely did good with rural voters and white suburban women. Don't know about normal Rust Belt voters though. That's what gets me. I'm gonna put Get Stomach. Next up, Rand Paul. I like Rand Paul a lot. I think he would do great with suburban voters, libertarian voters, as well as Rust Belt voters. Gonna put him on the phenomenal choice. And Donald Trump seems to like this guy, despite him voting with Donald Trump the least, besides Susan Collins, of course. Next up, Vice President Mike Pence. Definitely your traditional Republican, not a rhino or establishment Republican, as Red Eagle will tell you. Actually, I don't even think if he's ever labeled him establishment. I don't know. But definitely just a traditional Republican, sometimes far right, definitely far right on LGBT issues. It really depends on his running mate. Really, because, again, like Cruz, he'll probably choose Nikki Haley, and we need to steer away from her. Okay. Next up, Rick Scott. Definitely would do good in Florida, though he's probably gonna... He might lose a Senate seat in 2024. I'm gonna put him in Good Stomach. I don't think he... God, I don't know. It's either Good Stomach or depends on the running mate for me. Because Rick Scott's just boring. Won't do good in the election. Trump voters might turn out for him still, but he's just very boring. Next up, Mitt Romney. Next up, Marco Rubio. This guy just says whatever he needs to get elected. Just don't run. Just do not run. Next up, Ben Sasse. I actually like Ben Sasse a lot. Would do good with suburban voters, rural voters. Actually, any Republican does good with rural voters, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to put him on pretty good. He would definitely do good with constitutional Republicans. Probably would win back Arizona and maybe Georgia. Probably could end up winning New Hampshire. Because they are strong on, because he is strong on fiscal issues, which will help him in New Hampshire. Speaking of New Hampshire, the second most popular governor, Chris Sununu. A good vice presidential choice, a good presidential choice. My worry is that he caves. Because, I'm scared that he's going to cave on the gerrymandering issue. I'm scared he's going to cave on the abortion issue, which he's pro-choice, I'm pro-life, but I hate when people just cave to appease their party. I like strong people, even though we disagree. I'm going to put him on pretty good for now. He could easily go up into phenomenal choice if he doesn't end up caving on any of these issues during his Senate run. Unless he doesn't run for Senate, then everything I'm saying is just nonsense. Next up is Tim Scott. I like Tim Scott, though I wish he wasn't a SJW on certain issues. Which, it really, SJWs on social issues goes to the left of many Republicans. Though I think he's a good candidate nonetheless. I did like his bill for police reform. I did like that very much. I agreed with a lot of that, though I would have changed a lot. I'm gonna put him on pretty good. Nope, pretty good. And hey, I don't have to worry about him choosing Nikki Haley because they're from the same state. So hey, that's a plus for me. And finally, the big man himself, Donald Trump. This man has... I'm going to put him in phenomenal choice. Not 100% support, but because of the election fraud thing, stop saying it was rigged. You will lose if you keep saying it was rigged. If you keep bitching about it was rigged, you will lose. Even if you go back, even if Red Eagle says you have gone back to your 2016 roots and still say it was rigged, you will lose. Probably not against Kamala, but against Biden you will. But for now, that's why you're going in phenomenal choice. If you drop the fraud stuff, 100% support. But for now, you are going in the phenomenal choice. So I'm going to have this linked in the description below. So you guys could, you know, do this yourselves and tweet at me at Chaotic Politics so I can see your maps as well. So this is my final tier list. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Tell me down in the comments below. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.